Good evening, everyone. Hey, Susie. Hey, Tamala. Good evening. Welcome to day 19 of 30 Days of Thanks. Yes, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hey, Kipu, how are you? Good evening. Good evening to everybody on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Let me just pull this up so I can see all the people everywhere. I like to make sure I am live and in full effect on all the places. Hey, Cutie Pie Ash, I see you, love. Good evening. How is everyone? We had just I just got home like maybe a little bit under an hour ago, 45 minutes for our prayer and intercession at church, which was really good. And yeah, it was really good. And so I'm excited about today's conversation on freedom, and just excited about these next, after today, we have 10 more days to go. I want to move this a little bit. If you happen to see back here, I got a pillow back here. My back, I think from sitting in this chair every night and from working, like my back has been a little sore. So y'all pray for this back, y'all. And so I said, I'm going to get a pillow so I can kind of like lean back. Hey, Darnell, how are you? I see you all coming in. How is everybody tonight? How are y'all feeling? Are you excited? Happy that today is Friday? Yes. How is everybody? How y'all doing? How are y'all doing today? Whew. So really quickly before we jump in, because I have to teach tomorrow, so I'm going to try to close out early today. Y'all know we've been having some good days these last couple of days. So hey, Crystal, how are you? And so I want to make sure
We share, hey, Anger, how are you? I see y'all coming in saying that you're good. And so before I go, just so you guys know, today's the last day to register to get your bundle. So if gifts don't necessarily, excite you, then that's fine. But if you want the gifts, right? I'm a gifts person, so I try to sign up so I can get me a gift, right? Today is the last day to sign up. And so for those of you who are not aware, my 3-day event, let me put this up so you all can see it, is happening December 10th, 11th, and 12th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For regular registration. And then VIP is every night from 6 to 7. And so there'll be extra things happening for the VIPers. And so that's an additional investment if you want to upgrade once you have registered. But today is the last day to register for 197, and well, not to register for 197, but you get to register and you get the bundle. So if you register, early bird registration opened on Wednesday, and so Tuesday or Wednesday for 197. Regular price is 297, and so if you want to get in there and you want to get your bundle, you need to register today. And so depending upon what list you're on, you might be on both. You will get emails from me reminding you to get your ticket tonight. Okay. If not, once midnight hits, anybody who registers after that is still in for early bird. This is what I'm talking about. Ashley said my PTO was approved for the 10th. Come on, PTO. Let me just show up here real quick. Woo, woo, come on, PTO. Right? That's what I'm talking about. So those of you who are wondering, because it's a Friday and most people are working, a lot of the women are taking a PTO day so that they can get the full experience. And you're going to want to get the full experience. It's going to be good, right? You don't want to miss. And I get sometimes you can, especially if you just started a new job, you got to wait 90 days. Like I know all the things. But if you can, right, you still got 3 weeks technically. I think you got 3 weeks from today to put your PTO in so they can find somebody, child, to cover you. You know what I'm saying? Don't wait to the last minute. So at any rate, I wanted to let you all know that. And I'll put this banner up so that you guys can see where you can get your tickets. You can go to ispeaklifelive.com, ispeaklifelive.com in order to get your ticket for I Speak Life Live, right? We have, I think it's 22 women who are registered, right? And I'm sure there are going to be more, even those who come after and who may not get their bundle. But I'm excited about the women who have registered. I'm excited about the women who are going to be joining me. I'm excited about all the experiences that we're going to be creating those 3 days. So I personally want to invite you, if you are watching the replay, if you have not heard, I'm having a 3-day event. It's called I Speak Life Live, Empowerment Experience for Women. 3 days of teaching, coaching, preaching, prophesying, equipping. But really, this is a space where women come empty and leave full, right? And so this is for the woman who pours out a lot, but very seldom makes space and time to be poured back into. And so if that's you, I love to be able to pour into you. And so I'm allowing God to fill me all the way up so that I can pour into you for those 3 days, right? So let's jump in to let's come out of here. Day 19, we are talking about freedom. And I'm excited about today's conversation. Let's see, where are we? Here we are. All right. My eyes are a little tired because I've been on Zoom and all the things all week, coaching and teaching and all the things. So, and I'm nearsighted, so technically I don't need my glasses to read. All right. So it says they promise them freedom while they themselves are slaves of depravity. For people are slaves to whatever has mastered them. That's 2 Peter 2:19. Today, we will not only be giving thanks for our physical freedom, but we will be celebrating mental, psychological, emotional, and financial freedom, right? What a perfect conversation today to be talking about freedom, right? We're getting free from some things. We're getting unshackled from some things. We are getting unbound from some things, right? We are breaking free from some things. Yes and yes. When we think of freedom, our most forefront thought would be to give thanks for the everyday freedoms we as Americans experience by living in the United States of America. That is, if you live in the USA. I know that I have some people who watch every now and then. I used to have a woman when I was live for my Life Scope who watched me every day from the Philippines. I've had people watching me from Africa. I've had a couple people watch from Australia. So I always know that there aren't always people watching locally or within the states, right? And so depending upon where they are, their freedoms are different, right? Knowing that there are millions of people who live in other countries who cannot express the same freedoms we can, we should be extremely grateful. They don't get to experience the freedom to work, to live, to worship, to speak, to bear arms, or avoid cruel and unusual punishment. In some countries, even marriages are arranged at the age in which a young woman marries may seem too young to us. We've been able to vote for our country's leaders without wars breaking out. Moreover, there are countries where women are killed for voicing their opinions and where people are killed for practicing any religion that is different from the country's national religion. We even have the freedom and privilege to drink clean water without any thought about where it comes from. Heck, we don't even question if there will be enough water for tomorrow. We just assume that when we wake up tomorrow and go to the bathroom to shower or to the sink to wash our hands, there will be water. That isn't the case in some countries. And so I'm going to pause there really quickly because it's true. Like there are some freedoms that we get to have in this country. Hey, Peaches, how are you? There are some freedoms that we get to have that a lot of other people don't, right? It's a privilege, right? And so for us, it's kind of like normal that we wake up and, we get to, like, we just assume the water gonna be there, especially if we done paid the bill, right? But there's some places where like water is a luxury, right? Clean water, right? I remember one day my pastor saying that in some spaces, you don't even want to drink the water. Like that's how third world ish, right? It is, right? There are not places where like the water is technically not safe, and you even have to be careful of washing up in the water, like with your face and all of that, because you don't want it to get into your system, right? And so just to think, when we talk about freedom, the freedom to wake up and like stuff is going to be there, freedom to be able to worship, the freedom to be able to just live to be able to come and go, to wear what we want to wear, right? So many different freedoms that, like, when you think about it, some of that stuff is just assumed. Like we're somewhat, and I'll use this word, but maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but like we're just entitled, right? We just assume like the water is going to be there, that, we can wake up and, we can show up to work, and we can, we can, walk the streets and say what we want to say, and we can believe in Jesus Christ, and we can have conversation around that. But like, there are freedoms that we get a chance to take advantage of, that there are tons of people who have never like experienced, like people who flee their countries to experience the freedoms that we get a chance to experience here in America, right? We want to think about that, and we really want to say thank you, Lord, that that there are people, even though, yes, that there are lots of things that are not right in this country that we would love to fix, we still have the freedom to show up in a way that many people don't. And again, people come here for the freedoms that we get a chance to experience being born here. And so it says, think about that, and take a moment to give thanks for those freedoms you enjoy daily and sometimes take for granted, no matter where you live in the world. According to dictionary.reference.com and the Merriam-Webster online dictionary, freedom is defined as personal liberty, liberation or deliverance, the power or liberty to order one's own actions, the state of being free or at liberty rather than a confinement or under physical constraint, the power to determine action without restraint, political or national dependence, exemption from external control, interference, and regulation, etc. And I think it's important when we talk about the power or liberty to order one's own actions, that you get a choice to do what you want to do when you want to do it, right? And sometimes you're like, well, not really, but most times, yeah. Like, nobody's waking you up and telling you like where you got to go and what you got to do. Nobody's telling you what you have to wear. Nobody's telling you like who you can worship and who you can't worship. Nobody is telling you what you can and can't eat. Like, just basic, freedoms that I think sometimes when we look at that, like the power or liberty to order one's own, you can decide what you want to do today. There's some people who can't, right? You have a personal liberty, right? A liberation or a deliverance, right? The state of being free, right? Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. Like, we're free, and sometimes we still walking around in bondage, and we're not walking around in the freedom that Jesus Christ came to give us, right? Died to give us. God wants you to know that you are free to live a life that you never imagined. He wants you to know that you are free from the shackles of people, thoughts, words, and deeds that may have kept you bound in your life. Up until this point, you thought you needed their approval and their affirmation, but you don't. Up until this point, you thought you were bound to a certain group of people or a certain location or even to do a certain thing. But I've come to tell you that today you're free. Free from any and everything that will hinder you from living the abundant life God prepared for you before the foundations of the world. Stop giving people, places, and things full authority in your life. Your past has no say in your present nor your future. It was merely a gateway and a stepping stone to get you to this point. You are now free from your past. Can y'all just accept that freedom that God is giving you? Like, you're free from your past. Like, I know your past want to come up and your past is feeling some kind of way because it is now not the center of attention. But guess what? I don't know what to tell you. Like, you are the past for a reason. You happened and you're in the past because you're no longer, right? And so recognize that, like, your past, hey AZ, how are you? Your past has no power unless you give it power. And so when you walk in freedom, right? When you walk in freedom, then you recognize that, yes, I did it, but that's not who I am anymore. Like, yeah, I did it, but that was a part of me, but that's not me. Right? I get the choice. I have a freedom. I have the freedom to choose something different today. Right? I might have been a harlot. Right? That's what they called it in the Bible, right? I might have been a harlot yesterday, but I get to choose to be something different today. I might have been a murderer yesterday, but I get to choose something different today. I have the freedom to choose. I have freedom in Jesus Christ. I could have been a thief, a liar. I could have been a lot of things yesterday, but today, because of the work of Jesus Christ, I have freedom. Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. The Son set me free. So I'm free indeed. You're free. You have a freedom that you get a chance to walk in, not just personal freedoms because you are a citizen of the United States, or the freedoms that you get to walk in because of where you live in another country, but you get freedoms because you are a believer in Jesus Christ, right? You are a citizen of the kingdom. And as a citizen of the kingdom, then you get it. There are freedoms. Are y'all catching this? There are freedoms that come with being a citizen of the kingdom. You are a daughter or a son, depending upon who's watching, of the king. And so let me see where I am here. It says you are now free from your past. You are free from the people of your past as well as the words and deeds of your past. You are free from your past as well as the words and deeds of your past. Now take this however you like, because your past may not have been the worst past. It could have been great, but even as great as it was, keyword was, there is still something more fabulous in store for you, right? You have the freedom to up level at any level you're at. Like, you don't technically have to be at this level. You could be at another level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I hit the 10,000 level, but I'm actually now headed to the 50,000 level. And when I hit the 50,000 level, then I'm going to go to the 75,000 level, right? So just because I was on a good level here doesn't mean that you get to hold me here, that this is all I get to experience and that this is all God has for me. No, I have the freedom to up level at any point in time, to be able to go from faith to faith and glory to glory, spiritually and physically, right? I can elevate spiritually, but I can also elevate personally, physically, financially, right? I can decide that where I am is good, but I want more, and not in a selfish way, but because I have the freedom to decide that if God has it for me, I'm going after it. Y'all catching this? And so it says, embrace your ability to be free to recreate, reinvent, and refocus your energy on what's ahead of you instead of what's behind you. I'll say that again so y'all can catch it, because some of y'all won't catch it until tomorrow. Embrace your ability to be free, to recreate, right? Reinvent, and refocus your energy on what's ahead of you instead of what's behind you. Too many of us really spend a lot of time focusing on what happened yesterday as opposed to paying attention to what's going on now and then what's supposed to happen tomorrow. You miss today focusing on yesterday, and then by the time tomorrow becomes today, you still missed it because you're still looking in the rearview mirror. You can't drive that way. We've heard the analogy of trying to drive a car and looking in the rearview mirror is just not possible. Like, and that's only to some extent because you're looking just to see what's behind you, but you can't stay there. You can't drive a car and you can't drive a car looking back. You just can't. That's all we gonna say. And so stop driving the car looking back. You can't go nowhere. You can't go as fast as you need to go. And to some extent, at some point, you're not going to get there because you worried about what's behind you as opposed to what's in front of you. Don't let what happened in the past keep you bound in such a way that you can't be free enough to truly embrace your present and your future. I'm gonna read that again. Don't let what happened in the past keep you bound in such a way that you can't be free enough to truly embrace your present and your future. Right? That's right, Ashley. She says dangerous. It is dangerous. Right? Figuratively and literally. Literally, it is dangerous, but figuratively, then what happens is you slow the process down. You miss what's in front of you. And to some extent, you might run into something that that had you been looking front, you could have avoided. That was good. Right? Some of us spend so much time looking back that we run into things that had we been looking forward, we could have avoided. Your mind is free. Set your mind on things above. When your mind is free, the rest of you follows. Once you become free in the way you think, you begin to speak and act differently. Your emotions are free. Give no place to the devil where you allow your emotions to control your life. When you allow yourself the freedom to experience those emotions and then move on from them, it allows you to practice better emotional management. It is okay to be angry. You just don't have to stay there. It's okay to be or feel hurt. You just can't stay there. When you do, you forfeit the necessary healing that goes along with embracing it, experiencing it, and then letting it go. If you stay there too long, then you miss, to some extent, like you're there for a moment to be able to sit in it, to process it, to kind of learn from it. But then if you sit in it long enough, then you start to live in it, right? And so you're not supposed to live in your hurt, right? The healing is a process. It's not a permanent space. It is a continual process, right? You're always healing, right? In a healing space. But when we get to that hurt space and we tend to forget that it is a temporary space and it becomes a permanent space, then that's how we make decisions. We make decisions from our hurt place instead of our healed place. That was a word for somebody. Stop making decisions and stop operating from a hurt space and operate from a healed space. Do the work to be healed so that you can move forward. Your finances are free. Get or stay financially fit so that you can be a lender instead of a borrower. For you to be all that God has called and gifted you to be, you must know that you deserve it, which is all a part of mindset management. But once you get that under control, you then have to master being a good, no great manager of your finances. If you're lacking in this area, read books, research information, find a coach to get you on track. God has given you the power to get wealth, which was promised years before you showed up on the scene. Like, it's yours. You just got to do the work to not only get it, but you got to do the work to keep it. Right. And so, like, these are all of the different ways that we want to be free. We want to be free in our mind. We want to be free in our emotions. We want to be free in our finances. We want to be free in our relationships, right? We don't want to be bound in relationships that are not propelling us, that are not helping us, that are keeping us bound, that are keeping us stagnant and stuck. Child, listen, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, sis. Don't do it, right? Be free in your mind. Be free in your emotions. Be free in your imagine, right? Even in your imaginations, right? Some of you, like, you're even limited in what you think. Like, you're holding yourself hostage, or you're bound to like this certain standard that you won't even allow yourself to dream and imagine bigger than what you could and what God would want for you to. right? We talk about Ephesians 3:20, but for some of us, we can't even conceptualize what that looks like. We can't even conceptualize big dreams. We can't even conceptualize bigger dreams beyond the big dreams. We can't even conceptualize the bigger dream beyond the bigger dream of the bigger dream, right? Like we can't even conceptualize that. And so give yourself the freedom to dream and then dream even bigger than the biggest dream that you've dreamt. Did y'all catch that? Dream and then give yourself permission to dream even bigger than that. Like we can't keep saying, "Oh, I'm believing God for Ephesians 3:20," and then when we have an opportunity to conceptualize it, we're like, "Well, I don't know." Like we get scared. We're now operating out of fear, right? We're operating, out of worry and doubt. Like we don't believe, even out of self-sabotage, we don't believe that we're deserving of it. Hey, Shakisha, good evening. Is this good for y'all? Are y'all catching this? And so it says, know that if God has released you from personal, mental, emotional, financial, and social confinement, then I give you permission to walk away without guilt, shame, abandonment, resentment, anger, unforgiveness, fear, or anything that may be residing within you and keeping you from being free. I'm going to say that again because some of y'all need to catch that and put it in your pocket for later. If you got the book, then you can read it and highlight it, right? They say, yes, better than good. Susan says, no more fear. Listen, it says, just know that if God has released you from personal, mental, emotional, financial, or social confinement, then I give you permission to walk away without guilt, without shame, without abandonment, without resentment, without anger, without unforgiveness, without fear, or anything else that may be residing within you and keeping you from being free. I decree and declare that you'll walk in the freedom that Christ died for you to have and even rose for you to have, right? I decree that you will be able to walk into freedom, like with a free mind. You walk freely into the freedom that comes with being a kingdom citizen. You caught that, Susie. I see, right? You caught that. Right? You have permission to walk away without guilt, because sometimes folks, you make yourself feel guilty, but then other people make you feel guilty. And it's like, you're not going to make me feel guilty for wanting more. You're not going to make me feel guilty for wanting to please God. You're not going to make me feel guilty for stepping into what is rightfully mine because God said it's mine. You're not going to make, and you're not going to, I'm not going to shame myself, but you're not going to shame me either. I'm not going to feel bad about it. Right? No more. I'm not walking away without abandonment, resentment, all the things. Anything that has been residing within me and keeping me from being free, child, I'm releasing that. Because I want to be free. Free from people, free from people's opinions, even free from people's expectations. Like, I know you expected me to show up this way, but honey, guess what? Not today. I know you expect it because that's what happened yesterday. Right? I can't remember, what the exact saying is, but like for me, it's like you have the freedom to decide that, like, it basically says like, I know that I may have accepted it yesterday, but today is a different story. And so it may have been something that was okay yesterday, but it's not okay today. Like, you get the freedom to decide that what you tolerated, you no longer have to tolerate today. You can decide that, I realize that I want more. I want better. I'm settling and I don't want to settle, right? I'm stuck and I want to stop being stuck. Like, I'm giving myself the freedom to step into being free. Can we give ourselves freedom, right? To step into being free? Like, what's the whole point of freedom if we can't be free? Like, why would you be bound in freedom? Honey. Right? Like, I could close the book. I'm not even done reading yet, but like, I could close the book on that. God, we thank you, right? That we can walk in freedom. You know what I mean? That we can be free to walk in freedom, right? We can walk in freedom with freedom, like being free. Like, why would I want to walk in freedom, but I'm still bound? I have access to freedom, but I'm still not free. And a lot of it's because, I don't know how they're going to react. Child, they need to get free. When we all free, then we know, like, oh, I see her over there, right? She part of the free crew, right? She part of the freedom crew, you know? And I admit, like, sometimes it's challenging because people don't get it and people don't understand it and people don't, because they're bound, right? And so they're bound by tradition, or they're bound by what was and what is, even what is. And it's like, child, I'm not held to any of that. He says that I'm free. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, freedom. And so and if the Spirit dwells in me, my God, oh Jesus, if the Spirit dwells in me in my temple, then shouldn't I be free? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, there is freedom. So if he is in me, shouldn't I be able to be free and walk free and live free and talk free without you trying to hold shackles on me because you ain't free? Mm-mm. Not today. I'm sorry. Nope, not today. Woo, not today. You are free. And the word of God says, and I just said this, Second Corinthians 3:17. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Yes, wherever God's Spirit is, you will find a release of freedom. That is, if you want to be free. Some people like being bound because it gives them permission to play victim. Ooh, complain and keep having pity parties. Ooh, but you should know that I won't be participating in anybody's pity party. I am thankful and grateful that since God has given me authority, I'll be walking in the freedom, liberty, and deliverance afforded me. I'm walking in all of it, right? And you will too. We are not like, you go ahead and play victim if you want to, but just take that somewhere else. You can't be over here, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. It's freedom over here. And so you can't be a victim and free at the same time. Because if you're free, then you're no longer a victim. You're a victor, right? You're victorious. Right? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. You're not held to that situation anymore. You're not holding the people anymore. It's like, child, listen, I can't with you right now because I'm trying to do me. Can't do you and me at the same time. So I'm gonna do me because you still trying to do victim. I'm not doing victim. I'm doing freedom. I'm doing liberty. I'm trying to be free in every aspect of the word. Right? Yes, free and unbothered. Anger says, listen, free and unbothered. Listen. And so it says, how about you? Will you take the necessary steps to free yourself from all that is hindering you from your abundant life? If so, start giving thanks right now. Begin to say, I'm free and I'm not going back. So y'all type that into the comments. I'm free and I'm not going back. 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 God has given me permission to be free. He's given me permission to show up. He's given me permission. Like he's given me permission. And a lot of times people feel like, oh, well, I didn't give you permission. It's like, but you didn't call me. You didn't create me. You didn't deposit purpose in me. You didn't give me my assignment. God gave me that. So who are you to tell me? Like, and I understand order. Like, don't confuse, right? Control with order, because some people like to control you. That's not order, that's control. And I pray that God will begin to give you insight, and God will begin to give you discernment, so that you can know the difference between control and my brain just went off. Control and order. Right? That's right. I'm free and I'm not going back. Y'all type that in. I'm free and I'm not going back. Not going back. You can stay there if you want to, but like, I done left and I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. So your journal assignment is take some time today to meditate, ponder on, and then write those things that you have been set free from. Were you bound to an abusive relationship? Were you bound to debt? Were you bound to your emotions? Were you bound to a negative mentality? Were you bound to negative and pessimistic people? Were you bound to drugs and or alcohol? If so, thank God that you're no longer there. If you're currently in a situation where you desire to be free, write down what you want God to do in your life, and then write down what you are willing to do. Sometimes the turnaround is in our greatest challenge is the step we are afraid to take. I'm going to say that again. I love this every time I read this. Sometimes the turnaround in our greatest challenge is in the step that we are afraid to take. Sometimes your freedom is in the step that you're afraid to take. Like once you take that step, child, and you get a taste of freedom, child, listen, it's like the slaves, right? They got a taste of freedom, was like, we ain't going back. Y'all trying to make us go back? Y'all trying to what? I'm not going back. You get a taste of freedom. I mean, real freedom. You get a taste of it, and you like, child, boo, I'm not going back. I can't go back. I like freedom better than being bound. I like freedom better than being a slave. I'm not. Only person I'm gonna be a slave to is Jesus Christ, and that's Bible. But anything else, child, you can take that and throw that in the garbage. Put it in the garbage dispenser thingy, child. The garbage disposal, and just shred it all up because I don't want it. I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? You can keep that. I done got a taste of freedom. I've got a taste of what it feels like to show. I like, and some of you like just the freedom of being able to have peace, and the freedom to be able to sleep, and the freedom to be able to create boundaries and set boundaries and maintain those boundaries. Like some of you, it's like, I done got a taste of freedom. I don't want to go back. I'm not going back to the life of me. Like some of y'all been sleeping so good. It's like, I'm not going back to not being able to sleep well. Whatever I got, whatever I've been doing, let me keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? You know, you get that freedom of financial freedom, and you're like, I'm not going back to poverty. I'm not going back to a lack mindset. I'm not going back to, even a poverty mindset. Like that's a mindset. I'm not going back. Right. And she said, it's the boundaries for me. Child, listen, set them boundaries. They're going to be mad. But guess what? The freedom. Mm-mm. And the crazy part is once you start setting boundaries and once you start removing yourself, right, from those spaces that was giving you a headache, you're going to be like, dang, why I wait so long? This is what freedom feels like. This is what peace feels like. This is what joy feels like. Child, why did I think I was missing? So I was missing something. I was missing freedom. I was missing freedom. I was missing freedom. Like, listen, I'm just saying, like, whatever you're bound to, we decree and declare that those shackles. And here's the other part: I decree and declare that the shackles are set, are you loose from the shackles. But I decree and declare that the weight from the shackle, that you feel it, so that when you're loose, you know you're free. It's nothing like being free and not knowing you free, because you've been so used to the shackles that like they become a part of you that you don't even realize when they come off. I want you to realize when the shackles come off. I want you to feel the burden. I want you to feel when they fall. Child, I want you to be able to pay attention so that you know, like, okay, like I'm definitely not. I felt the difference. I want you to feel freedom. I want you to feel the difference of freedom versus bondage. I want you to be in a space like to the point that like exactly so used to dysfunction that you don't know. Like I want you to be, and I want you to be comfortable with it. Like sometimes we get so caught up in dysfunction and being bound that we believe that that's the only thing, like slaves, like that's all they knew. And so it's like, well, if I go to something else, what if it's not as good? Child, it can't be no worse than where you at now. Come on. You afraid of freedom because you so used to living in lack? You afraid of abundance because you so used to poverty? You afraid of you some filet mignon because you been eating peanut butter and jelly, and you know peanut butter and jelly, you ain't never had no filet mignon, so now you trying to figure out like, I don't know, it don't look right. I don't know, that big old, like, I don't know. You better put that peanut butter and jelly down and go get you some filet mignon. Go get you some surf and turf. Get you some scrimps. Listen, get you some good old food. And listen, there's nothing wrong with peanut butter and jelly, because guess what? At some point in time, whether it's the peanut butter and jelly, the ramen noodles, the rice and bean, like whatever you got to do in order to, you know what I'm saying, get through. You know what I'm saying? Like you do what you got to do to get through. But honey, listen, that's a pit stop. That ain't the destination. We're not trying to stay here. Whatever we got, like we might be, as they say, in between blessings. We might be, but guess what? My freedom is over there. I want the freedom to eat what I want when I want. I want the freedom to be able to pay for however much it is and not have to think like, oh shoot, did I pay that bill? I want that freedom. Whom the sun sets free is free indeed. Listen, Peaches says, give me that filet. Listen, I know that's right. Anger said, that was me. I was so used to the dysfunction and didn't realize functional, right? I thank him for deliverance. I deserve it. You sure do, child. You deserve it. Well, y'all write that in there. I deserve freedom. I deserve freedom. I deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve freedom. You hear me? You deserve it. You deserve freedom. You deserve to experience every facet of what freedom has to give you. Financially, emotionally, socially, psychologically, physically, spiritually, all the things. You deserve freedom. You deserve to experience freedom. Give yourself permission to experience freedom. Literally. And when you get in it, it might be uncomfortable, but ask God to settle you into it and start to expose you to it. So when you get there, it's like you home, it's literally like, oh, I'm finally home now. You deserve it. Child, you deserve it. And so sometimes the turnaround in our greatest challenge is in the step we are afraid to take. And so I challenge y'all to take the step into freedom. Take that step, right? Whom the sun sets free is free, and you're free. You just got to walk in it. Like he's already given you freedom. It's not anything, right? And deliverance. Yes, you deserve freedom and deliverance, right? To be delivered from that thing, delivered from the shackles of bondage, we're delivered from the shackles of dysfunction, right? Delivered from the shackles of poverty and a lack mindset, and to be in a space where, that God can show up in a way that we never thought he could show up in. And it be like, oh, so this is what you wanted to do, Lord. Okay. Peaches says, I deserve it. Show me the way, Lord. Let me hear and see the shackles fall off. That's right. Anchor said, listen, we about to start a phone ministry because I'm about to throw mine. Jesus, ask him to settle in it. Yes. Settle in freedom. Settle in it. Hey, Jazz, how are you? Settle in it. Settle in that freedom. Listen, I'm asking God, help me settle in it. You know what I'm saying? This next level, listen, I'm start looking at stuff. I'm already talking about, what my next house look like. I seen a picture of my favorite car. And I think I think they said the new, and they very rarely I love, my favorite car is a Range Rover Autobiography. And so I just saw somewhere that the new 2022, I think, is coming out. Like they've updated it. And I saw a few pictures and I was like, ooh, yes, okay. And I said, Lord, I thank you for my new car. Right. And so I don't know when it's going to come. I'm okay with my car that I have now. I'm going to pay it off in a little bit. And technically the plan is to keep it for a while. But child, listen, I got my eye on it. I tell you that much. I know certain aspects of what my house is going to look like and not the next house, but the house. Right. I know what it's going to look like. I know I don't know all of the pieces too, but I know there's some things. That's right, Susie, you on another level, right? Yeah. On to the next, listen, I've even said, oh Lord, I love the Range Rover. I said, but I don't mind driving a Bentley. I don't mind driving around in the Jag. Give me a Porsche. I don't mind. Listen, I don't mind. I want the freedom to choose what I want to drive. Can we talk about freedom? The freedom to choose where I want to live, the freedom to choose where my son go to school, and the fact that money is not an issue. The freedom, that's freedom, right? For God to be able to start to drop ideas and different things that basically, again, there's some things that you got to step into. You know what I'm saying? The freedom. There's a freedom that comes with that. And so the first thing you got to do is give yourself permission to walk in the freedom that Jesus Christ died for you to have. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, right? So the question, though, my next question is, are you creating space for the Spirit to be where you are? If the Spirit resides inside of you, where, right? Right? Susan says, yes, money is not an issue paying for school. No, it's not. You declare that. Money is not an issue. It will be paid, right? God, and even in this space, right, that I have freedom in the Spirit, that God can provide opportunity, right, where it may not even be me paying for it, but it's paid for. You know what I'm saying? I give myself permission, right, to have freedoms that my family, my parents never had, right? My grandparents never had, right? We stepping into a generation of creating a generation of new freedoms, right? That we have the freedom to do X, Y, and Z. I was just talking to somebody yesterday that we have the freedom to rest, that we don't have to be hustling all the time, that taking naps is normal, and that people aren't looking at you like you take naps. Yeah, I take nap. You grumpy. You look like you need to take a nap. I speak the freedom to take a nap on you. Right? like to take naps and rest and to decide my dreams and my visions and the freedom to be able to be like Dallas, like, pack your bag, we getting ready to go out of town tomorrow. He like, where are we going? We going to Miami. Where are we going, Mom? We going to Jamaica. Like, literally, when I say tomorrow, I mean tomorrow. Not like, oh, we got a plan for the trip next year. Do y'all hear me? That's freedom. Those are the freedoms that we need to change, right? Change our mindset. Listen. Right? Anger said, thank you for my brain and freedom. Yes, Lord. Right? The brain to be able to visualize, to be able to have imagination. Listen, I'm telling y'all that, and it's coming. It has always been a dream and a desire of mine to literally get up and go. I'm gone. I decided that I want to leave today, and I'm gone today. Right? It is freedom with nobody else's approval. Like, where you at, child? I'm gone. And I'll probably, call my dad and be like, hey, just so you know, my town, just in case you looking for me, child. Because he be coming like, where you at? I ain't heard from you a couple days. But just to know, like, I'm on a beach somewhere working, doing 30 days of thanks on a beach, right? Or in my little bungalow somewhere, right? Enjoying. Like, seriously, y'all, like, we have to give ourselves permission and the freedom to dream in ways that maybe we never thought we could dream because we never gave ourselves permission to, because we never thought it could be a reality. But I think, like, for me, it's always been in me to dream those kind of dreams. But now that I have surrounded myself with people who are actually doing it, child, that's all I need to see. You hear me? That's all I need to see. People making the kind of money that allows for the kind of freedoms that we want to be able to experience. And it's possible. People doing all types of things, not just one thing, but different things. And so I want you all to give yourselves permission to be free. Give yourself freedom, right? To be free. For real, for real. Joyce Meyer says, if you can do what you can, God will do what you can't. Combine God's super with your natural and watch what happens. Right? Anger says, this is so good. Surrounding ourselves. That's the word. Yeah, you have to change your community. You got to change your community. And I was thinking about this earlier because there's certain things that I've known and wanted to do or whatever. And it wasn't until I invested in a mastermind last year where I could get in community with people who were doing what I was doing, going where I was going, and even achieving some of the things that I wanted to achieve. Child, it did something to me. And that's why community is so important. That's why sometimes the enemy wants to isolate you. And he wants to keep you bound. If he can keep you bound, then he can keep you from being free. And if he can keep you from being free, then he can keep you from taking advantage of. My Wi-Fi is acting crazy. All right, y'all. Can y'all see me? My Wi-Fi. I can see me glitching on Wi-Fi. If not, go hit me up on Instagram. I'm at True Heart Speaks. But I can see it like looking like a little glitchy, and I can see my internet. So, but if y'all need to leave Facebook, go to Instagram. I'm at True Heart Speaks. We good over there. But I know that it is, you can see me. Okay. But I see myself glitching. So yeah. Okay. But yeah, so, but there were things that I had experienced, and yeah, cause I see you saying I'm blurry. Yeah. I can see myself blurry too. The Bible does speak on community, right? We have to assemble ourselves, fellowship, right? Forsake not the assembling of ourselves together. Talks about unity, right? Right. And so, like, how can two walk together unless they be in agreement, right? And too many times we walking with people we are not in agreement with, and you be looking like, and we walking with them out of obligation. You know what I'm saying? Stop being obligated and be free and say, you know what, this is not working for me. We ain't on the same page. And so, and I'm not coming down. So either you come up or we gonna have a problem, because I'm not coming down there. Not coming back down, child. We going up. Only way we going down is if God say go down. But other than that, child, we going up. We going up. You hear me? No. But for me, it made a difference. And it wasn't even, she said, there go my edges. Listen. And for me, it wasn't even, it was what I learned, but it was the mindset and giving myself permission to do things that I'm wired to do and want to do, taking naps and resting and vacationing and, working the way that I want to work and charging what I want to charge. Right. My coach and I wasn't in her private coaching program. I was in the mastermind, but for private coaching, she charges $60,000, y'all, and people pay it. Let me just tell y'all, people pay it. And so when you get a chance to actually see people, right? I think last year she made $600,000 or $700,000. And there are people who are making, right? And it's not about the money. Keep understand what I'm saying. It's not about the money. But the point is that sometimes you just need to be in a different space, seeing something different that lets you know what's possible for you, whether you want it or not. It's not even about that's what you want. It's yes, Jasmine. Yes, child. Yes. And she's a Black woman. I don't even think she's hit 40 yet. I think she's like 38 or 39. She might be 36, 37. Yeah. Like, it's possible. People out here, child, they charging coin and people are paying coin. And what I'm learning is that people pay for what they want. People will say, oh, well, I can't do coaching, but then they walking around with Louis Vuitton bags. Oh, I can't do coaching. Oh, but I see them on vacation. And now mind you, I'm not in your pocket. But what I'm saying, because my price is gonna stay whatever it's gonna stay. But what I'm saying is that when you get sick and tired of getting sick and tired, you'll do something different. And part of that is recognizing that you have the freedom to do that. Freedom. You have the freedom to charge what you want because somebody gonna pay it. You have the freedom to show up how you want because somebody is looking for you. You have the freedom to speak how you want to speak, Jasmine, because somebody is waiting to hear your voice. You hear me? You have the freedom to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing people who are making multiple six figures in their businesses. And these are women, they're Black women, even white women, but Black women, women of color, period. Yes, period. You know what I'm saying? And so to be in a space where you can see that, even companies that are making $1 million, right? Priority is what's important, right? And so you can't be out here and you like, oh, my life is a mess, but you were looking real cute, but you don't want to, you will invest in that purse, but you won't invest in you. You won't buy a book. You won't even you'll buy the book, but you won't even invest the time to read the book. And God has given us so many options in the area of you've got the freedom. And here's the thing for those of us, because everybody I know watches is not African American, but we have to understand that we come from a people where we were lynched, we were killed, we had fingers and toes cut off for reading. They didn't want us to be educated. They didn't even want to give us the freedom of education. And from what I remember, I don't know the specifics of it, but those of you who are women's studies women, that even in that space, that women, I think it's only been like 75 years since we've had the freedom to be able to vote to the point of where I think like up until 75 years ago, we couldn't even go into a bank account and open our own bank account. Do you hear me? So when we talk about freedom, child, you better get out of my face. Get out. They don't. You hear me? Listen. That's right. He lays it in our lap. Freedom. You have like Jesus. And I get it. I was there. And the reason why I'm so passionate because I was there, because I know what it's like to want, and you're like, dang. And sometimes you literally have to say, you know what? I have to pay to get into a different room, because where I am right now, if I stay here, I already know that I need something different. You have to make the decision sometimes that you need something different. You need to do something different. And when God gives you the opportunity to take hold of it, you better jump on it, and you better ride that bull, and you better hold on to them horns, and you better not let go. You hear me? And be okay with making mistakes. Like, being in the mastermind just gave me safe space that it was okay. Even you can want all of these things and still be where you are. You know what I'm saying? And that you can make a lot of money and still be tired. You know what I'm saying? You can be doing great work and still some days be like, I don't want to go to work today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything is not perfect. And, but we have the freedom to decide how we want to move and all of that. Like, I'm working towards not working at all on Fridays. And to some extent, if God makes it, I'll only be working on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And truth be told, when I was in college, specifically when I was in undergrad, like I would try to work my classes so that I only had classes on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so I could be off on Mondays and Fridays. Y'all remember that schedule, right? When you be like, well, we're going to do, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so we can be off on Tuesday and Thursday. Listen, I'm trying to create that thing. You hear me? Watch. Just watch and see. And I don't apologize for it because I have the freedom to decide what I want. I'm just saying, I want you all, and it's crazy because y'all been here with me. We've not talked about this ever. I'm telling y'all, like, the people are missing it, but that's okay. The people who are here, y'all, listen, y'all gonna replay. Listen, y'all better share this and let people know that they missing out. But at the end of the day, like, God is faithful, and he's so faithful to the point of where he'll like keep knocking and say, listen, I've got this for you. Do you want it? And at some point, you got to say, yeah. Right? Tamla says, I was just talking to my daughter about freedom earlier today and living a life without limits. Yeah. Most of the limits we put on ourselves, right? I receive it. Every successful person has failed, but perseverance keep going. I receive it. Yeah. We got to persevere. And it really is trial and error. Like, you're figuring things out. So you may not get it the first time. You know what I'm saying? So we'd be like, it ain't work. I quit. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. Right? See, Susie, she's like, that was my schedule. Child, listen, give me Mondays and Fridays off. I'm working too. I'll take my classes and do my homework and everything on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm good to go. You hear me? And so that's really what I want. That is my desire, to work 3 days a week and be off 4 days a week. So when I decide to up and go, and the other part though for me is my business, I can be live anywhere. I've always wanted a location independent business where I don't have to technically be anywhere. So if I need to do coaching calls in Paris, they're the only barrier, right? And it's a limited barrier, is time. Like, I don't know what the time difference is, so we'd have to coordinate that. But other than that, child, if I can talk to you in Paris and we can still coach and I can still run my membership or whatever it is that I need to do, child, that's what we're going to do. Because I'm working Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And Friday through Monday, child, I don't know what I might be somewhere, right? Seriously. All right, so here's our prayer for today. It's 11:01, child. We were trying to get out of here early. I tried, and y'all just was holding me. I'm going to put it on y'all. It says, Lord, on this day, we say thank you for freedom. We thank you for the freedoms that many times we take for granted. Lord, we say thank you for being free in our country, our state, our city, our home. We thank you for being free in our families, on our jobs, and in our careers, our minds, our actions, our words, our emotions, and our finances. Father, from this day forward, no longer will we allow people, places, and things to keep us bound when we have been granted freedom. When you have granted freedom, liberty, and deliverance to us, we bind up and thank you for regulating any thoughts that would try to convince us otherwise. We are thankful and grateful to you because we are free. In Jesus' name, amen. Right. As she says, psych. I love it. Thank you for your obedience. Every year I get a different thought. Yeah, even me too, Anger. Like, you think it would be the same because, it's my book. But no, child, I'll be getting the same revelation. Like, same revelation. I mean, not same revelation. I get different revelation with the same words. It's just literally, like, I know the stuff that we talked about this year. Like, sometimes I can say, okay, yeah, I remember kind of mentioning that like last year or whatever in previous years. But what I know to be true is that God has given, and I knew he was going to do it. God has given new and different revelation this year. Right. I was just thinking that I gained something new, right? Every year, no longer everyone, we are free, right? It is because of this. So yeah, this that season we in, child. Listen, I'm going for it. I'm telling y'all, as long as y'all hold on, if you hold on, child, listen, we going up. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing that I will say. I'm not gonna let you stay where you are, but I'm also not gonna force you to come. Catch that. You are invited to come, but I'm not gonna make you. I'm not gonna stop doing what I'm doing while you still be trying to figure out, no, like if you coming, the plane leave at 12 o'clock, you better be there at 11:30 or you're going to get left. I'm just saying. I heard something by one of my coaches say, we got to stop saying that we're leaving people behind. You're not leaving nobody behind. They choose to stay where they are, right? They have the freedom, that word, they have the freedom to stay or to go, just like you have the freedom to move or not move. And so when you decide to move, if they want to move with you, when I move, you move just like that, then you better be ready. And part of that means getting your mindset, working on your mindset, being prepared, for, opportunities or different things that happen. Child, listen, we got to be ready. We have to be ready. And sometimes it's not a financial ready. Sometimes it's like, hey, I have this opportunity. Do you want it? And you're like, oh, well, I don't know. And I've said this before. It's like, you say you want a job and I say, well, give me your resume. You're like, oh shoot, hold on, wait a minute. I gotta update it. I don't even you ain't ready. Why is your resume? You need a job, but your resume is not updated. You ain't want the job bad enough. You ain't ready. The resume should be updated. Your resume should be updated. And and I haven't updated a resume in a long time, child, just because I haven't had to, but literally like every 3 to 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, if you get an award, if you do like a certification, if you go to a conference or any of those kinds of things, like that's the kind of stuff that you either want to be writing down or putting on your resume, so that when you get in the interview and they ask you about your expertise and your experience and all of that kind of stuff, you can relate to that. You can share. But you talking about you want a job, child, and you ain't even updated your resume. And you're like, oh yeah, it's updated. Give me a moment. I actually have it on a hard drive, but as soon as I get home, give me your email and I'm sending it to you. Right? And if you're real smart with the way technology is, you will have a PDF, updated PDF, access either to your Google Drive or your OneDrive or your whatever it is. And you like, oh, absolutely. What's your email address? I can email that to you right now. Right? My first lady talked this literally at the prayer that God is positioning us to the point of where we need to be already ready. Not just ready, but already ready. I'm already ready. I'm already ready. I'm literally about to get my son's passport because we're going to be already ready. You hear me? Listen, Ashley says on my phone. That's what I'm talking about. Stop saying you want stuff, but you're not ready. And I've been there, right? Be like, oh, I want that, but you ain't ready. I remember, so last year was the first time, and then we're going to go when my coach at the time was talking about, I was at her event. It's called a 6-figure boot camp. And one of the things that she talked about was your dreams and even like your 6-figure lifestyle, your 6-figure dream, all of those things. And she talked about taking the time to think about how much your dream, like all of the things that you desire and how much it costs. And I'm just going to tell you, I think my dream is like the things that I just like, I want to do annually, right? Might be a few $1,000,000, the stuff that I want to do on a consistent basis. I think at the minimal, it might be maybe like anywhere between like $200,000 to $300,000 of just my lifestyle, how I want to live, all of that kind of stuff. But like on the extreme, it's a few $1,000,000. And so I want to challenge y'all. I'm going to tell y'all this, to think about your dreams and think about how much it costs. But I want you to think about it from a free perspective and not a bound. Because see, you'll think about it from a bound perspective and you're like, oh goodness, this costs too much. I need to change this, child. Oh, I don't know. Like how we gonna afford that? I don't know. Right? We go into no. Like, Lord, like I'm excited to see how this unfolds. I'm excited to see this thing manifest for me. I'm excited to see how I'm going to do my part because I want you to do your part in this. This is what I desire. You got that dream home. How much does your dream home cost? You have the car. How much does your car cost? Right? You want to take vacations. You want a dream home. Like for me, I want a dream home somewhere on the beach. And I really love Florida, but I'm thinking about like somewhere in the Caribbean, like Jamaica. I love Jamaica. I only been once, but there's something about it that I love. Right? But like starting to price that kind of stuff. And I started to think to myself, like, and she was like, if you haven't priced it, you still living in fantasy real. You haven't, you fantasy land. She said, you haven't checked into Realityville yet because you still living in a fantasy. You don't know how much stuff costs. That's why you haven't really taken the time to start working towards it because you don't know what it costs in order to have it. Talk about coming for edges, child. I was like, okay, Miss Rosetta, thank you. Okay. And so for some of you, you need to start looking at how much your dream costs. What does freedom cost for you? Spiritually, it costs you nothing because God has already set the stage. But the other stuff that you want, how much does it cost for you to be emotionally free? How much does it cost for you to be able to be relationally free? Right? How much does it cost, right, for you to be financially free? Like, how much does it cost? Because it may not be finances, right? It might cost you some people. It may cost you to change up some stuff. It might cost you some money to invest in some circles that you need to be investing so people can call you out on your mess. Like, why you keep settling? You've been talking about that for the past 3 years. When you gonna do it? You need some people in your circle who can say that to you. I know you've been talking about that for a real long time. Like, when you gonna make it happen? And not to be smart about it, but just to check you, like, we've been waiting to see it. Like, we excited for you, but you doing a lot of talking and you ain't doing no doing. You need to be in circles like that. Ashley said, no more champagne toast taste and beer money mentality. Yeah. Child, we want all right. Your stomach is bigger than your eyes. You want all that food, but you can't eat it. Right. And that's okay, right? Because you get to a point where there is no what's the word? You have the freedom to be in a space where I can order everything on the menu, right? And I can taste it. And if I don't like it, I can send it away because I have the freedom to do that. And my mind is not like, oh, I'm wasting food. I remember the first time I went on it, like really my only cruise. And I remember the first time, they bring you at the dinner out and they bring the menu and they tell you all the things that you want, you can, and I was like, well, I don't really know if I want this or this. And the guy was like, well, this is the only day that we're having this, to get both. Okay, you don't need to tell me once. Give me all of that right there. That's all you need to tell me. Listen. And I know my son got the blood, child, because we went out. We had a staycation one day. We went out to eat, and I think I've shared this story with somebody. I don't know. And in the thing you get I think it was like a $50 gift card for the restaurant. And so in my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, we'll just stick with the restaurant, with the $50. I'll check the menu out. And I had already decided what me and my son were going to eat. Child, this little boy. We get to the restaurant and it's, we're just, hanging out or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get you the burger and I'm going to get, I think it was I think I was getting like the fried fish because it was a Friday or whatever. And so I said, well, I'm gonna get you the burger. And he was just like, I don't want the burger. Can I look at the menu? He didn't want that, Susie, right? This little person looks at the menu and he's like, oh, they have lobster, Mom. I want the lobster. Oh, God. He wanted the lobster. And so I sat there for a moment because I understood that this was a moment, right? You cracking up, Susie, because y'all know, I see you, Tamala, y'all cracking up, right? But I sat there in a moment and I said, I do want to start exposing him to more, right? To be able to go into spaces and to know, like, he can have what he wants, right? So we be trying to be on a budget and they blow it. Child blew the whole budget, right? And so I said, well, we'll both get the lobster, child. And it was a good old lobster too. Wasn't that red lobster? It was the good lobster, big lobster, right? And so we got the lobster, and I think I ended up getting, like, we both got salads. He had French fries. I had mashed potatoes with my lobster, and we enjoyed it. And I looked at that as, okay, this is a seed that I'm sowing at this point now in this conversation of freedom, the freedom. Right. And so, of course, he doesn't know about cost or anything like that. But I'm always mindful of the seeds that I'm sowing because I want to make sure that I'm not sowing seeds of lack or seeds of, you know what I'm saying, just by certain things that I say. And I try to, even if I say, okay, well, we can't do that right now, I'll just say, like, that's not a part of the budget or, whatever. But I literally was like, okay, this is a moment where I can teach him, but also I'm exposing him. And so sometimes even your children, like, what are you teaching your children about, like, bondage, right? Or freedom? You have the freedom and the choice, right, to begin to teach your children, right? In a way where for them, they understand responsibility, but they also understand choice, right? Tama says he reminds me of my son. He ordered macaroni, lobster macaroni and cheese at one time at dinner. Child, listen, he always be ordering stuff, and he'll eat it though. Like he'll eat it, or I make sure I'm like, listen, now you know you're gonna eat this when you get home because you're not gonna eat all of that. He's like, I know, mama, I know. I'm like, I know you know, but I just need you know you're gonna eat it. Don't just be ordering because whatever. But at some, and that's even that. I'm like, I have to be careful because at some point, child, if you got the money, you can order what you want. If you don't like it, child, order something else. You know what I'm saying? But just having that freedom to start to explore. I want you all to have the freedom to explore and to know that there's more, right, than what we are experiencing in this space. That there really are people who are just, you know, they're walking in freedom. Like my accountant and friend Nicole Douglas, she's got a shirt that says freedom equals. And it really is like what your definition, like what does freedom equal to you? And for me, it's always been working how I want, with who I want, making as much money as I want, as well as my big Y word has always been freedom, options, really freedom. Freedom is a word for me. Like it's a big word. I want to be able to have freedom and options to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, and how I want to do it. And that is under the like auspices of the Holy Spirit. Like I'm not just out here trying to be gully and God pulling me back. Like, listen here, little miss, I'm running this. Like I'm very aware that I'm not running this, but I'm also like, I'm a king's kid, right? My daddy is a king. And so as long as he say I could have, if he say I could have it, then I'm going after it, period. Peter says, glad he enjoyed it. Have a similar story. I was looking for a house with my son when he was little. I showed him some nice houses. I said, which one you like? He said, none of them. I said, well, what kind of house are you looking for? He said, the one on the crib. Oh, cribs. I know that's right, baby. He said, I don't want this little baby house. I want the ones I be seeing on TV. I know that's right. You know what I mean? Like we expose our kids to stuff. And and it's so funny because I was at the airport like a couple of months ago, and I was in front of this lady, and she had two little people, and they were running around or whatever. And it's so funny because even though I have one, when I see people with little people, little people, they had to be maybe like 3 and 4 or 2 and 4, something like that. And they were running around. And so we were in the rental car line, and the mother was like looking at the thing or whatever. And I guess he was like, Mom, what are you doing? She's like, well, I'm looking something around like trying to see what kind of car. And he says, well, are we going to get a Tesla or are we going to get like a Porsche? Child, I bust out laughing in that line, and I look back at her and I said, and I said, oh, and I could tell he probably had been, like my son, they watched, these YouTube channels or like the different like shows where, the kid in like, even in Roblox, like the kids like get these nice cars and stuff. Like they learn about that stuff on the game. And she was like, no, we're not going to I don't think they have any of those cars here. But I died laughing because, for them, child, they're free, right? There are no reservations around what they can and can't have. And so I thought it was the cutest thing. He's like, where are we? And I can't remember what other, I'm trying to think it was a Porsche, but I want to say it was something else. Like, oh, I think he said, are we going to get like a Tesla or a Lamborghini? Child, I almost hit the floor. And I was just like, kids are so funny. So it says one of the girls asked for a Tesla for their first car. Yeah, child, they be thinking like, this is what I want. And they think, and to some extent, it's kind of like, I want to be able to do that for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it might not be your first car, but God, I want to be able to buy her a Tesla. Like, I think at the end of the day, like to be in a space where obviously, yes, we teach responsibility, we teach stewardship, right? We teach accountability, but we also teach them that like, if you do what you're supposed to do and you do it the way, it's supposed to be done, I'll buy you a Tesla. Like, God, I'm praying that you position me to buy her a Tesla. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where the freedom to think differently, the freedom to see differently, the freedom to be able to have the type of money to buy your kid a car, right? Maybe, and again, like, no, that won't be your first car, right? We're not doing Sweet 16. What was that on MTV Sweet 16? We're not doing that. But at some point, I'm going to buy you a Tesla if that's what you want, right? I'm going to buy you a Tesla. So, yeah. May we all live in freedom and abundance and overflow in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I receive that. I receive that. Amen. All right. So we all gotta go to bed. I have to get up in the morning for our prayer seminar tomorrow. It starts at 10. And so I have to prepare and all that kind of stuff. But I pray that you all got something out of today's conversation. Y'all just keep holding on, because the next 10 days are going to be really good. Tomorrow we're talking about being thankful for friends and enemies. Juicy. We'll see what God has to say about that. But I'm excited, because I just believe that if where the Spirit of the Lord is there is liberty. If we have access to freedom and liberty, I just wonder how, how would you show up differently in freedom? Like, how would you show up differently being free? How would you show up differently? I want you to think about that. I want you to go to sleep dreaming about what being free and walking in freedom looks like for you, right? And if you are at that space, even a higher level of freedom, a deeper and a wider level of freedom, what does that look like for you, right? What does that look like? Right? And start to journal, right? And think about that, or even pray it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you all sleep well, put praise, right? Praise yourself to sleep. Dream about freedom. Ask God to be able to start to reveal dreams that maybe you've tucked away and you didn't think that you could aspire to them, or that they would never come true, because for one, maybe it's never been done in your family. Nobody would believe it if you did it. You know what I'm saying? And you're welcome, love. I want you to have everything that God wants you to have. Like, I want you, whatever your version of milk and honey is, I want you to have it. And I don't, and in that space of freedom, I do not want you to self-sabotage. I don't want you holding on to bondage any longer, right? Bondage and hardship, that some things will be done with grace and ease, that literally you'll look back and be like, this was too easy. Like something ain't, like, it's going to blow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, like, there's some things that really God wants to bless you with, that at the end of the day, it's so easy that you're like, God, I know this was you. That's how I want God to bless y'all. Like, that kind of freedom. And so I want y'all to rest in that. That freedom is your portion. Freedom is our portion. Whatever you define freedom to be, right? It may not be vacations. It may not be any of those things, but you define what freedom looks like and feels like for you, and then start to position yourself to take hold of it and walk in it and believe it and speak it and write it. You know what I'm saying? So I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. Y'all sleep well. I will see you all tomorrow night. I don't know if anybody locally is coming to the prayer seminar. It's free if you want to come. We're in the Galleria Mall on the lower level near the what do you call it? PF Chang's entrance from 10 to 1. And if not, though, I'll see y'all tomorrow night, 10 p.m. for day 20 of 30 Days of Thanks. So sleep well, praise your way to sleep, and we're walking in freedom from here on out. Y'all hear me? I love y'all. Good night.